Jordi, welcome to our Qvest talk today. So happy to have you here in our studio. Giordano Koch, Managing Director of HYVE. Jordi, we wanted to talk about ambidextrous companies, persons. I'm a badminton player. I know how complicated this is, and honestly, I don't manage it. So what does companies need to do to be successful?
Yeah, thank you. Really interesting topic, ambidexterity, so that you use both of your hands. Yeah. In the strategy or innovation research, we talk about ambidexterity when talking about exploitation. So when trying to optimize your organization, to make it more efficient, to make it to improve things. And on the other hand, the exploration, where we try to identify new opportunities, to identify ideas, innovations. And I think from a leadership point of view, the question is how you balance those two logics, how much exploration and exploitation you allow within an organization, and how you manage that actively, both logics.
So what you're saying, that one hand is kind of invested in my daily business, covering what I'm doing every day, and the other hand is more forward-looking, more outreaching. Is it this?
Exactly, and the tricky thing is that you need a different type of manager. You need a different type of mindset, and to be honest, also somehow organizational structures and formats in order to be more explorative or more focused on exploitation. I always try or explain that with having an athlete trainer, running or observing his athletes on a track, and he counts every second, and he really knows if I add a little bit of, I don't know, this and that, then they have a second or millisecond better. And on the other hand, you have this expedition guide, right? Really experienced one, and trying to find new ways, new tracks. And that is a totally different management style. You have to observe maybe your team in the mountains, you have to guide them, to help them, but maybe they are a couple of 1,000 meters higher than you and exploring things, and it's more this guiding and thing.
How does this fit to what we currently see in the industry? And I think it's not only in the media and entertainment, which is my kind of home turf, but also beyond this. If I look at it, at the moment we see a lot of, let's say, CFO-led initiative, structure, cost saving, back to core business, companies being split according to core functions. And at the same time, for sure, there are these initiatives of building innovation teams beside organizations, attaching them. I don't really get it fully aligned. So what is your take, and maybe also outside of the media and entertainment domain?
My observation right now, the last 3-4 years, is that of course exploitation, so efficiency mode, is more on vogue, is more attractive. That's the CFO mode. So it's not true for every company and for every industry, but in general I would say it's focusing on the core, optimizing the core product portfolio, making processes even more efficient. And in a global or European economy, which is more shrinking than really growing, I think that's also a good argument, for making things more efficient.
Get money, cash is king.
Exactly, and I think the tricky part or the interesting part is now how to make the turnaround. So how to restart growth, how to restart innovation, while still maybe focusing a lot on financials and making things efficient.
Is this driven or led by certain technologies? Is, as per nature, I mean, everyone is talking AI, right? And is AI something which is automatically driving forward, or is it also about how do I apply it to the organization? Again, what do you see here?
I think new technologies or new trends have potentially an explorative or radical impact on organizations. However, what we saw in the last couple of years is that, of course, especially AI, but also other big trends like cloudification,
Cloud, for example,
triggered initially more the efficiency gains. Right?
How can we improve what we're doing today by using it? Make this process better, get our IT costs down.
And I think also here, now we have managed all the efficiency use cases with AI. And now we need to be a bit braver maybe, and invest more budget and risk a bit more to also now identify the innovation use cases for AI. Yeah.
So really use the other hand, kind of.
Exactly.
This is what we want to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think again, our observation in the technology projects is very often that tech debt is an issue. So there is legacy infrastructure, there is systems, there is processes established, and this is all bound to certain systems, to certain people, and it's kind of slowing organizations down because it is something which is there. So overcoming this hurdle, would you consider this more an organizational challenge? Is it more a business model challenge? So who's driving this overcoming the hurdle of tech debt?
Yeah, good question. Maybe looking in another industry may help. We saw similar things a couple of years ago in the financial insurance industry. We conducted many innovation labs and more radical innovation initiatives with different banks in the past. And of course, they also achieved something. But at the end, if you now look into the market, we see the new neobanks
who are really kind of driving the market, collecting the customers, have super high evaluations, which go beyond anything the traditional banks have achieved in quite some time.
And the problem, I think, is or were the legacy systems within the banking companies, which hindered them to really be that innovative.
So making the turnaround, basically getting out of this debt and driving it forward. Yeah, I think something in the media, and clear Netflix was one of these examples where it's very tangible, having someone who, again, they came from a traditional business model, but they kind of innovated on a pure digital business model. And I think the shift of Netflix entering the market in this way is still to be seen today, because there are a lot of companies who went to similar platforms, but it's not really the innovation. It's kind of, we build something similar to compete with the new competitor Netflix. So if we think this forward, is there something you would say companies should definitely invest in to be successful in this environment, and using both hands at the same time? Is it more organization? Is it more people? Is it more structure? What is it?
It's all of that, to be honest.
Sounds easy.
But first and foremost, I think it's a management decision. So if the management is clear, the top management is clear how much exploration is relevant for them or valuable for them, then I think it's already a big step. Because if that is clear, you can then discuss what is the right implementation format for that company or for that industry. So do we talk about innovation initiatives, innovation programs? Is it more collaborating with startups and really going outside of the boundary condition or the boundaries of the company? Or is it something we focus for a couple of years? That's also a good argument to say ambidexterity is not always similar, but it comes in waves. And there are certain times where it's more important to look at innovation topics, and other times where maybe not. So there are different tools, I would say, of formats you can apply to do that.
And is it more, because what you described also with these waves, is it more I follow one technology or one theme, or do you see it's more like a program where an organization is driving multiple initiatives, but to kind of innovate beside the normal business?
Coming back to the athlete trainer and the tour guide, I would say it's more the mindset. So if the organization is capable in switching between those two logics or having structures for both, then I think you can initiate based on different technologies or different user needs, different programs and product development initiatives. So I think it's more about really having the culture in place, having the mindset, having the structure to do both.
And if I need to pick one, where should I start? What is good entry? Because let's consider I'm an organization who currently doesn't really have all what you described, mindset, people, but they want to do, right? There is maybe even the CFO saying, hey, I want to strategically invest my money going forward, because I see that only maintaining day-to-day business doesn't really take it for the next 5, 10, 15 years. So what is a good way to kind of go this first step to get into it?
I would start again from the top strategically to really understand what are our core portfolio, what is our core portfolio, and where do we see, based on foresight activities or based on trends, on technologies, changing customer needs, where do we have gaps, white spots? And then typically those white spots can be somehow linked to some business unit, or some areas in the organization, but typically these white spots need to be filled in different logics, and then you have the question, okay, who takes care of that? Who
do I now give this initiative?
Exactly.
Who is responsible? Who cares? Accountable. In
exactly, and then you can say, okay, maybe kind of a pilot project, a pilot program. We put that in a certain place. Can be on a group level. Can be also separated outside of the organization. But I think what is important in the first step to link it, or to understand at least the link to the core portfolio. To just otherwise it's just
something
colorful and up. All this. Table soccer initiatives.
A showcase project, something to basically be flashy but not really help them.
Be creative but not really.
And you mentioned now, I think the example you gave was the neobanks, but also what you just said on the customer side. I mean, the neobanks pretty much have been driven by customer innovation, right? Going straight for a model which provides immediate benefit to the users, to the end users. Is this something you would also consider a success factor? This strong focus on user needs in, for example, assessing my portfolio?
Yeah, I mean, that should be the driver for exploration, for doing new innovations. That should be the driver, because then you have a relevance, then you have a value add to the customer. And then, of course, you can map technologies or possibilities or your capabilities to it. But ideally, from my point of view, that should be the driver for the innovation.
Okay. So
because all the legacy system, all the technology things are typically not customer-centered. They are just there.
Or maybe from a time when they were established, which is probably not the going forward time. And I think this is something we very often see, that technology or implementation decisions are being made as the as of now state, or the as of now plus 2 years state, but not really the as of now when it will be their state, which is then 5 years, 10 years, because there's huge complexity in these technology replacement cycles. And I think there are initiatives to make it easier, harmonized integration layers, metadata models, and so forth. But at the same time, it's not like the debt just disappears.
And therefore, I think the management layer is so important. We need to make sure that the management really decides where to focus, and how much investment is still running into legacy systems, and when there is a certain point where we need to stop that or reduce it and invest in other initiatives. And that's, I think, the management challenge, to really find the right time, because if you are too early, the exploitation game is still too powerful. And then the exploration has no chance. If you are too late, we are seeing that right now in the automotive industry, then suddenly exploration happens, and
but you're kind of running behind. You try to catch up.
Exactly.
Yeah. So what you say in its core is it needs management support, strong focus on where my customers are going, so that it is customer orientation, where my market is going. Don't shy away from tech debt, but find a good way of handling it, and get it into the organization with the proper structure, whatever this structure is for a certain organization.
Perfect summary.
Great. Thank you very much. If I want to learn more, where do I need to be? And I hear you are hosting a complete summit on this specific topic.
Yeah, I think that's a good chance to talk about that. We are hosting a summit. It's called the Secret Source of Innovation Summit in October 9th in Munich. And the idea is to gather innovation leaders from different industries and different companies to talk especially about that topic. So how can we manage both efficiency topics and restart growth? And the basic idea is to have people on the stage and learn from them, but also have enough time for networking and peer-to-peer discussions to really learn from each other.
Really cross industries, cross domains. Exactly. Perfect. Looking very much forward to seeing you there and to the summit. Thank you for joining us today. And I think you mentioned foresight and a little bit what is happening in the market next. Maybe this is a good topic for our next talk, Jordi. Thank you for your time.
For sure. Thank you very much.